Tonight, the streets of downtown Los Angeles are quiet, but it's not peace, it's pressure. A strict curfew has just taken effect, running from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. after 5 days of intensifying protests against federal immigration raids. What began as isolated gatherings has erupted into a national flashpoint, and now the heart of LA feels more like a lockdown zone than the City of Angels. California Governor Gavin Newsom didn't hold back. In a passionate statement, he expressed his outrage at President Trump's decision to deploy National Guard troops and even active-duty Marines to his state, without local consent. This is a brazen abuse of power by a sitting president, he declared. He has militarized our streets, used tear gas, rubber bullets, and stripped our citizens of due process. His voice carried the weight of frustration, of a leader watching his state fall under federal force. But the president sees things differently. Speaking at an event in North Carolina, Donald Trump described the protests as, quote, an assault on peace and public order. He proudly defended the military deployment, claiming, if we weren't there last night, they would have burned down the city. His tone wasn't one of concern, but command. They're wasting their time, he said. Some of them will end up in jail for a long time. As the sun set over LA, tensions remained high. Media crews captured a chilling scene, long lines of California Highway Patrol officers in full riot gear, batons at the ready, waiting for the order to move. The streets are now nearly empty. Most protesters have left, but a few remain, and the officers are prepared to clear anyone who stays behind. This is no longer just about protest. This is about power. In a 1-mile radius of downtown, the curfew is being strictly enforced. People walking the streets without authorization risk immediate arrest. Emergency text alerts have been sent to every phone in the area, warning citizens to stay indoors. City officials insist this isn't martial law, but for many, it certainly feels like it. Over the past few days, chaos has unfolded in waves. On Sunday night, protesters made their way onto the 101 freeway, blocking both directions of traffic. It was dangerous, tense, and dramatic. Police eventually cleared them out, but not without force. 67 people were arrested during that single incident. These are the kinds of images authorities are desperate to prevent. But at what cost? There's also a battle over narrative. Two different voices are emerging, one from California's local leaders and the other from the Oval Office. Mayor Eric Garcetti and Governor Newsom are calling for de-escalation, for respect of civil rights and the right to protest. Meanwhile, the White House is calling for strength, order, and what they describe as lawful suppression. But where is the line between protection and oppression? To answer that, we turn to legal expert Jody David Armour, professor of law at the University of Southern California. He explains that while the president can legally invoke the Insurrection Act to deploy military forces, the context matters. He recalls how Eisenhower federalized the National Guard in 1957 to protect black students entering segregated schools in the South. That, Armour says, was a case of upholding civil rights, but this is different. There is no clear national consensus backing these immigration raids, Armour explains, and there's certainly no consensus that peaceful protesters should be met with military-grade force. He warns that sacrificing civil liberties for the sake of safety has always been a dangerous trade, and history has shown us how thin that line can be. In the neighborhoods around downtown LA, fear is palpable. Some residents are afraid to leave their homes, not because of protesters, but because of heavily armed officers. Parents are keeping children indoors. Local businesses, already suffering from economic strain, have boarded up their windows in anticipation of more unrest. The emotional toll is rising, and people are beginning to ask, when will this end? What's happening in Los Angeles isn't just a city issue, it's a national moment, a test of leadership, of policy, of restraint, and perhaps most importantly, of public trust. Because when the government responds to protests with force, it sends a message. one that echoes far beyond the barricaded streets. As the curfew unfolds tonight, the world watches closely. Will the heavy-handed response truly restore order, or will it spark deeper resistance, more division, and greater unrest? In times like these, the role of the people and the press is more important than ever. We must ask hard questions. We must stay informed, and we must keep watching. Because democracy doesn't disappear overnight. It slips away quietly, curfew by curfew, raid by raid, and moment by moment. Stay tuned. This is far from over.